When my son told me he was suing me for my inheritance, I laughed in his face. Days later, I was sitting across from a real lawyer with real papers. That's when I realized family ties can become nooses if you aren't watching who's holding the rope. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling me if you've ever been betrayed by family. Because trust me, this story is about to twist harder than a tornado in a trailer park. My name is Tina Harding. 3 months ago, I was just a 58-year-old librarian in Millfield, counting the days to retirement and planning vacations I'd never take. My biggest worry was whether Mrs. Peterson would finally return that overdue copy of Pride and Prejudice she'd been hoarding since Easter. Then the letter arrived.
It was a Tuesday.
I remember because Tuesdays are when I make pot roast, a tradition from when Eric was growing up. Eric, my son. My only child. The baby I raised alone after my husband Tom disappeared 17 years ago without so much as a goodbye note. The envelope was crisp, official-looking. Return address, Blackwell and Associates, attorneys at law. My hands trembled as I sliced it open with a butter knife. Dear Mrs. Harding, this letter serves as formal notice that our client, Eric Harding, is initiating legal proceedings against you regarding the misappropriation of inheritance funds from the estate of Harold Jenkins. Harold Jenkins. My grandfather. The man who left me his modest savings and the family home when he passed 3 years ago. The letter blurred as tears filled my eyes. Eric was suing me. My son. The boy I'd read bedtime stories to. The teenager I'd taught to drive. The young man whose college tuition I'd paid by working double shifts was claiming I had stolen money that rightfully belonged to him. The pot roast burned that night. I didn't notice until the smoke alarm screamed overhead, jolting me from my stunned daze. Somehow, that felt appropriate. My life was going up in flames too. I called Eric immediately. His phone went straight to voicemail. I left 3 messages, each more desperate than the last. Script part separator ===. Eric, it's Mom. I just got a letter from some lawyers saying you're suing me? This has to be a mistake.
Call me back.
Eric, please. It's been 2 hours.
We need to talk about this.
Whatever's happening, we can work it out. Eric Thomas Harding, I raised you better than this. Call your mother back right now. I tried reaching him for 3 days. Nothing. On the 4th day, my doorbell rang at 7:30 a.m. I opened it, still in my robe, hoping to see my son. Instead, I found a stone-faced woman in a charcoal suit. Mrs. Harding? I'm Sandra Blackwell. I represent your son in the matter of Jenkins versus Harding. There must be some mistake, I said, clutching my robe tighter. Why would Eric sue me? Everything Grandpa Harold left went to me.
Eric knows that.
She gave me a smile that never reached her eyes. My client believes there was a verbal agreement that the inheritance would be shared, specifically to fund his business ventures. He claims you've systematically denied him access to funds that were promised to him. That's absurd. There was never any agreement. Nevertheless, we'll see you in court on the 30th. That's 3 weeks from today. She handed me another envelope. These are the formal documents. I suggest you find representation immediately. The door closed, and I slid down against it until I hit the floor. 3 weeks. 3 weeks until I had to face my son in court. I called my friend Diane, who worked at the courthouse. Her voice went tight when I explained the situation. Tina, honey, you need Linda Matthews. She handled my sister's divorce. She's expensive, but she's the best. I made the appointment for that afternoon, emptying my emergency fund to pay the retainer. Linda's office was all gleaming wood and leather chairs. She listened, sharp eyes taking in every detail, as I explained. This inheritance, she said finally. How much are we talking about? About $320,000 and the house. It's worth maybe $275,000. Linda whistled low. And what's your relationship been like with Eric recently? Script part separator ===. Good. Fine, I thought. But as soon as I said it, a series of small memories surfaced. Eric's increasingly short phone calls, his missed visits, how he declined my invitation to Thanksgiving last year. For the first time, I wondered if those were signs I'd missed. Eric got married last year, I told Linda. To Angela. She's not who I would have chosen. She's always pushing him to be more ambitious, to make more money. Linda leaned forward. When did Eric first mention this verbal agreement about the inheritance? Never. Not once. Grandpa Harold left everything to me specifically because Eric was doing well. He had just landed that job at Meridian Tech. Grandpa said Eric was set, but I needed security for retirement. Interesting. Linda made a note. And has Eric had any financial troubles lately? Not that I know of. But doubt crept in. We haven't talked much since the wedding. Angela doesn't like me. Linda's eyes narrowed. First thing we do is subpoena his financial records. This smells like desperation, not entitlement. I left Linda's office with a battle plan and a hollowed-out feeling in my chest. My son, my only family, was now my adversary. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went to the attic and pulled out photo albums. There was Eric at 8, missing his front teeth. Eric at 16, proudly holding his driver's license. Eric at 22, college graduation, arm around my shoulder.
What happened to that boy?
My phone rang at 11:45 p.m. Eric's name flashed on the screen. My heart jumped.
Mom.
His voice was flat. I tried to do this through the lawyers. Eric, what is going on? Why are you doing this? You know why. Grandpa promised me that money. You've been sitting on it for 3 years while I've been struggling.
What are you talking about?
Your grandfather never. Don't lie to me. His voice cracked. He told me himself that money was for the family's future. I'm starting a family now. Angela's pregnant. The news hit me like a physical blow. I was going to be a grandmother, and I was finding out like this? Eric, that's wonderful news, but what? You'd rather hoard Grandpa's money than help your son provide for his child? Your grandchild? That's not fair. What's not fair is you living in that big house alone while we're crammed in a one-bedroom apartment. What's not fair is you having all that money sitting in the bank while we can barely make rent. Script part separator equals. Are you struggling, Eric? I asked, my voice softening. If you need help, we can talk about it. You don't need to sue me. I don't want your charity. I want what's rightfully mine. That's when I realized something was very wrong. The Eric I raised would never speak to me this way.
This isn't you talking, I said.
This is Angela. Don't bring her into this. She's the only one who sees things clearly. I begged him to meet me for coffee, to talk this through face to face. He refused. The lawyers will handle it.
Goodbye, Mom.
The line went dead. I clutched the phone so hard my knuckles turned white, as if I could somehow maintain the connection through sheer force of will.
Sleep was impossible after that.
I found myself at the kitchen table at 3 a.m., surrounded by paperwork, bank statements, my grandfather's will, everything I could find related to the inheritance. If Eric was going to war, I needed to understand the battlefield. That's when I noticed something odd. The monthly statements from First National showed regular withdrawals of $500 to $1,000 over the past 2 years. Always in cash. I hadn't made those withdrawals. My hands shook as I called the bank first thing in the morning. This is a security issue, I said to the manager. I need to know who's been accessing my account. After verifying my identity 6 different ways, he gave me the answer. Mrs. Harding, those transactions were authorized using your debit card and PIN. That's impossible. My card has been in my wallet the whole time. There was a long pause. Mrs. Harding, our records show a secondary card was issued for this account approximately 2 years ago. The request came through our online portal. Ice formed in my stomach. 2 years ago, Eric had helped me set up online banking. He'd sat at my computer, typing in my information, showing me how to check my balance online. He had my passwords, my account numbers, everything. I called Linda immediately. I think Eric's been stealing from me, I whispered, the words burning my throat like acid. She wasn't surprised. This changes everything, Tina. He's not just trying to get money from you, he's covering his tracks. And now we have leverage. Script part separator equals. I spent the next few days digging deeper into my finances. The bank provided records showing that someone, Eric, had systematically drained nearly $47,000 from my accounts. Small amounts, never enough to trigger my attention, but adding up over time. My heart felt like it was being torn in half. One part of me, the mother, wanted to protect Eric even now. But another part, the woman who had worked her entire life for every penny, was furious. Linda advised me to file a police report. I can't put my own son in jail, I protested. We're not filing charges yet, she explained. But we need an official record of the theft. It strengthens our position. The police station was cold and impersonal. Officer Reynolds took my statement, his face impassive as I explained that my son had been stealing from me. Family cases are the worst, he said, sliding the report across the desk for my signature. My sister cleaned out my mother's accounts before she passed. People get crazy around money. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. The court date loomed just 2 weeks away. Then Angela called. Mrs. Harding, she said, her voice uncharacteristically timid. We need to talk. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our homes. Angela looked terrible, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail.
No makeup.
None of the perfectly curated appearance I was used to seeing. Eric doesn't know I'm here, she said, hands wrapped around her mug. He'd be furious. What's going on, Angela? I asked. Is there really a baby? She nodded, tears welling up. Due in September. But that's not, there's more you need to know. She pulled out her phone, unlocked it, and slid it across the table. Text messages filled the screen. Eric and someone named Victor. What am I looking at? I asked. Evidence, she whispered. Eric's been gambling. For years. He owes people. Dangerous people. Script part separator ===. I stared at the texts, my stomach dropping as I read through them. Eric owed someone named Victor over $120,000. The messages turned threatening in recent weeks.
Payment due Friday. No extensions.
Your collateral is running out, Harding. We know where your wife works. Angela's hand trembled as she took back the phone. He told me it started in college. Just poker games. Then sports betting. He'd quit for a while when we met, but after our wedding, she choked back a sob. He swore the lawsuit would fix everything. Does he really think I have that kind of money? I asked. He told Victor he was getting an inheritance. $500,000. He just needed time. $500,000. My entire inheritance, plus more that didn't exist. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I'm scared, Angela whispered. Last night, someone broke our apartment window. Left a note saying, "Time's up." She placed her hand protectively over her still flat stomach. This isn't about the baby or us starting a family. It's about keeping us alive. I felt sick. My son wasn't just a thief, he was in danger. And he dragged his pregnant wife into it. I have evidence, Angela continued. Bank statements. His gambling accounts. Loans he took out in both our names. I need to know you won't let him go to jail. The maternal instinct to protect my child warred with the knowledge that Eric had created this mess himself and tried to use me to fix it. I can't promise that, I said finally. But I want to help. Both of you. When I told Linda about Angela's visit, she shook her head. This changes our strategy. We're not just defending you anymore. We're exposing Eric's lies. Script part separator ===. Linda insisted on preparing for every angle. Eric's attorney will claim you're making this up to distract from the verbal agreement, she warned. We need hard evidence. We subpoenaed Eric's bank records immediately. The next day, I found an unmarked envelope in my mailbox. Inside were printouts of Eric's gambling accounts, loan applications, and screenshots of threatening texts. Angela had come through. One document hit me hardest, a loan application from 6 months ago where Eric listed expected inheritance as collateral. He'd forged my signature as a co-signer. With 12 days left before court, the community started taking sides. My next-door neighbor of 15 years crossed the street to avoid me. The grocery clerk whispered to her coworker as I checked out. Rumors spread that I was hoarding family money while my poor son struggled. Then came Sunday dinner at my sister Karen's house. Maybe you should just give him some money, Karen suggested, passing the potatoes. Family peace is worth more than money.
You don't understand, I said.
He's stolen from me for years. Boys make mistakes, my brother-in-law chimed in. Remember how Tom was always getting into scrapes? The comparison to my ex-husband stung. This isn't a scrape. Eric embezzled nearly $50,000 from me. Karen put down her fork. That's a lot of money. And now he wants it all. Every penny Grandpa left me. Why does he need so much? Karen asked. I hesitated. Did I betray Eric's gambling problem? Protect his secret even now? Ask him, I said finally. He won't tell me the truth anymore. Driving home, I noticed a black SUV following me. It stayed 2 car lengths back, matching my turns. When I pulled into my driveway, it cruised slowly past. The driver, a heavy-set man with a shaved head, stared directly at me. Victor? Or one of his people? I rushed inside, locked every door and window, and called Officer Reynolds. Stay inside, he advised. We'll send a patrol car. That night, someone spray-painted "Pay Up" across my garage door. The police report called it random vandalism. I knew better. Script part separator ===. With 9 days left before court, Eric finally agreed to meet me. We sat at opposite ends of a booth at Denny's, the restaurant where we used to celebrate his good report cards. You filed a police report against me, he said, voice low and dangerous. You stole from me for 2 years, I countered. What did you expect? His face hardened. I was borrowing. I was going to pay it back. With what? The rest of my inheritance? Eric's eyes darted around the restaurant. He looked terrible, unshaven, skin sallow, dark circles under his eyes. He'd lost weight too. This wasn't my confident, smiling boy. This was a hunted man. You don't understand the position I'm in, he whispered. I know about Victor, I said. The color drained from his face. How did you? Angela came to see me. She what? He slammed his hand on the table. Several diners turned to stare. She's protecting your baby, Eric.
Someone has to.
He deflated, shoulders slumping. Mom, I'm in trouble. Real trouble. Then drop this lawsuit. Let me help you the right way. His laugh was bitter. It's too late. Victor already knows about the inheritance. He's expecting his money the day after court. And if you lose? Eric's hands trembled as he reached for his water.
I don't want to think about that.
These people are dangerous, aren't they? The spray paint on my garage? He nodded, not meeting my eyes. You brought criminals to my doorstep, I whispered, my voice breaking. Your own mother. I never meant for any of this to happen, he said. It just spiraled. Drop the lawsuit, I repeated. Then we'll deal with Victor together. I can't. His voice cracked. You don't know what he'll do to Angela. To the baby. As Eric left, he hugged me briefly.
I'm sorry, Mom. I really am.
Script part separator ===. Watching my son walk away, I felt hollowed out. The boy I raised was buried somewhere inside that desperate man, but I couldn't reach him. That night, I received a text from an unknown number. Tell your son time's running out. Attached was a photo of Angela leaving her workplace. I called her immediately. Pack a bag, I ordered. You're staying with me. 3 hours later, Angela was settled in my guest room, pale and quiet. Eric doesn't know I'm here, she whispered. He'll be furious. Let him be, I said. You and the baby need protection. With a court date just a week away, Linda arranged a meeting with Eric's attorney, Sandra Blackwell. We met at Linda's office, the atmosphere frigid with tension. My client maintains there was a verbal agreement, Sandra began, smoothing her designer skirt. Mr. Jenkins intended the inheritance to benefit both his daughter and grandson. Linda smiled like a shark. Interesting theory. Here's our counteroffer. Eric drops all claims, repays the stolen $47,000 over 5 years, and we don't press criminal charges for identity theft, fraud, and embezzlement. Sandra's composure cracked. Stolen?
What are you talking about?
Linda slid the bank records across the table. Your client has been systematically draining Mrs. Harding's accounts for 2 years. We have evidence he used her identity to take out loans. The police are already involved. Sandra's face went blank as she examined the documents. I'll need to consult with my client. As she gathered her papers, I spoke up. Tell Eric his wife is safe with me. And tell him Victor visited my house last night. Sandra froze. Who's Victor? Ask Eric, I said. And tell him I know about the baby. After she left, Linda raised an eyebrow. Victor was at your house? I nodded. Sitting in his car across the street. Just watching. That's it, Linda said, reaching for her phone. We're getting a restraining order and police protection.
It won't stop people like Victor, I said.
No, Linda agreed, but it creates a paper trail. And right now, documentation is our best weapon. Script part separator ===. As the court date drew closer, the pressure intensified. 5 days before our hearing, someone broke into my house while I was at work. Nothing was taken, but every photo of Eric was removed from its frame and laid out on my bed. A warning. Angela and I moved to a hotel that night. She was showing slightly now, the small bump a reminder of what was at stake. The next morning, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Harding. The voice was deep, with a slight accent. I understand your son owes me money. My blood froze. Victor. Smart lady. Your son promised payment after the court hearing. Is that still happening? That depends, I said, surprised by my steady voice. Eric stole from me for years. Why should I give him more? Victor chuckled. Family drama doesn't interest me. Money does. Your son owes me $120,000. Plus interest. And if he can't pay, then I collect differently. Maybe from his pretty wife. Maybe from you. Threatening me is a mistake, I said, hitting the record button on my phone. The police are already involved. Police. He sounded amused. They can't protect you every minute. After he hung up, I played the recording for Linda. This changes everything, she said. We're going to the district attorney. 2 hours later, I sat across from Assistant DA Marcus Thompson, replaying Victor's threats. We've been after Victor Kazan for years, Thompson said. But no one testifies against him. I will, I said. Thompson leaned forward. Mrs. Harding, do you understand what you're saying? Kazan is connected to organized crime. This isn't just about your son's gambling debts anymore. I understand, I said. But I want my life back. Thompson nodded. We'll need your son's cooperation too. He'll never agree, Angela said quietly. He's terrified. I squared my shoulders. Leave Eric to me. Script part separator ===. That night, I called Eric from a burner phone the police provided. Mom?
His voice was wary.
Where are you? Why is Angela with you? We need to talk. Not on the phone. Meet me at the police station tomorrow at noon. Police station? Are you crazy? I can't. It's about Victor Kazan. I spoke to him yesterday. Silence. Then what did you do? What you should have done months ago. I'm fixing this, Eric. With or without you. He showed up at the station 15 minutes early, pacing the lobby like a caged animal. When he saw me, his eyes were wild with fear.
You don't know what you've done, he hissed.
I took his arm firmly. I know exactly what I've done. I've given you a way out. Inside a conference room, Assistant DA Thompson laid out the deal. Eric would testify against Victor, providing details of the gambling operation, loan sharking, and threats. In exchange, he'd receive limited immunity and protection. And what about the lawsuit? Eric asked. Drop it, I said flatly. It was never going to work anyway. Eric looked from me to Thompson, then buried his face in his hands. He'll kill me. Not if we get him first, Thompson said. But we need your statement today. For 5 hours, Eric confessed everything. How the gambling started in college. How Victor approached him at a casino, offering private games with better action. How the debts mounted until Victor suggested a business arrangement. Eric would launder money through a fake consulting company. That's where the stolen money went, Eric admitted, unable to meet my eyes. Some for gambling, but mostly passing through to Victor's accounts. And the inheritance lawsuit? Linda asked. Eric's shoulders sagged. Victor heard about Grandpa's money. Said if I didn't get it, he'd come after family next. I thought I could protect everyone this way. As Eric signed his statement, I felt no triumph, only sadness for the web of lies my son had woven around himself. What happens now? I asked Thompson. We move on Victor. Tonight. You and Angela stay in protective custody until it's done. Eric looked up, panic in his eyes. What about me? Thompson's expression hardened. You're our star witness, Mr. Harding. You're not going anywhere. Script part separator . That night, Eric, Angela, and I were moved to a safe house outside of town. 3 police officers stayed with us, watching doors and windows. Nobody slept. Angela curled against me on the sofa while Eric paced the floor, jumping at every sound. I never meant for any of this to happen, he whispered around 3 a.m. I know, I said, though part of me wondered if that was true. At dawn, Thompson called. We got him. Kazan and 3 lieutenants. Caught them with cash, drugs, and enough evidence to put them away for decades. Relief washed over me like a physical force. It's over? The immediate danger, yes. But we still need Eric's testimony for the trial. When I told Eric and Angela, she burst into tears. Eric just stared out the window, his expression unreadable. Does this mean we can go home? Angela asked.
Soon, I promised.
But there's still the matter of our court date tomorrow.
Eric turned to me.
I'll tell Sandra to drop everything. That's not enough, I said. I want you to stand up in court and admit what you did. All of it. Mom, please. No, I cut him off. You've stolen from me for years. You dragged me into your mess with Victor. You tried to take everything I had. There has to be consequences. Eric's face crumpled. I could go to jail. I won't let that happen, I said. But you need to make this right.
Publicly.
The next morning, we entered the courtroom separately. I sat beside Linda, my back straight, eyes forward. Eric and Sandra huddled at their table, whispering urgently. When the judge entered, Sandra stood. Your Honor, my client wishes to withdraw his complaint. Is that so, Mr. Harding? The judge asked. Eric stood, hands trembling. Yes, Your Honor. And there's more I need to say. Script part separator . For the next 15 minutes, Eric confessed everything to the stunned courtroom. How he had stolen from me. How he had fabricated the verbal agreement with my grandfather. How he had been caught in a web of gambling debts and criminals. I betrayed my mother's trust, he concluded, voice cracking. I have no claim to the inheritance. I never did. The judge's face hardened with each revelation. Mr. Harding, these are serious criminal admissions. You understand I'm obligated to refer this matter to the district attorney? Yes, Your Honor, Eric whispered. Linda stood. Your Honor, if I may. Mrs. Harding has already been working with the DA's office. Her son has provided key testimony against Victor Kazan, who was arrested last night. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. The judge raised his eyebrows. Is this true, Mr. Harding? Yes, sir. The judge tapped his fingers on the bench. In light of this cooperation, I'm dismissing this case with prejudice. Mr. Harding, I strongly suggest you continue cooperating with authorities. He banged his gavel. Next case. Outside the courtroom, reporters clustered around us. Eric's gambling problems and connection to Kazan would be front-page news by morning. I'm sorry, Eric said as cameras flashed around us. For everything. I looked at my son, this stranger who had caused so much pain, and felt the first stirring of something beyond anger. Not forgiveness.
Not yet.
But possibility. We have a lot to work through, I said. Starting with getting you into treatment. Eric's eyes widened. Treatment? For your gambling addiction, I clarified. That's non-negotiable. He nodded, shoulders slumping in defeat or relief. Maybe both. Angela stepped forward, taking his hand. We also need to figure out how you're going to pay back what you stole, I continued. Every penny. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Eric checked into a residential treatment program for gambling addiction. Angela moved in with me temporarily as her pregnancy progressed. Victor Kazan and his associates faced multiple federal charges, their criminal empire crumbling under the weight of Eric's testimony. The media circus eventually died down, but not before everyone in town knew our business. I endured pitying looks at the grocery store, whispered conversations that stopped when I approached. My peaceful life as a librarian was forever changed. 1 month after the court hearing, I visited Eric at the treatment center. He looked better, clearer eyes, steadier hands. The counselor says I've been using gambling to escape since Dad left, he told me. Running from feelings instead of facing them. I nodded, thinking of Tom's abandonment and how it had shaped both our lives. Your father hurt us both when he disappeared. Eric hesitated. There's something you should know, Mom. I found Dad 5 years ago. The world tilted beneath me. What? He's in Seattle. Remarried with 2 kids. I tracked him down online. And you never told me? Eric looked away. He made me promise not to. Said it would only hurt you more. Another betrayal to process. Another secret exposed. When Angela gave birth to little Hannah 2 months later, I held my granddaughter and marveled at life's capacity for renewal. In her tiny face, I saw traces of Eric, of my father, even hints of Tom. Family, complicated, messy, heartbreaking family. Eric completed treatment and found a job working for the state gambling addiction hotline. Every month, he deposited money into my account, small payments toward the enormous debt he owed. I never fully trusted him again. Some wounds cut too deep for complete healing. But watching him hold his daughter, seeing him struggle toward redemption, I found something I thought lost forever. Hope. Last week, Eric asked if I'd help him track down his father.
For closure, he said.
I agreed. After all, I've learned that secrets fester in darkness. It's only by dragging them into the light that we truly begin to heal. The inheritance that nearly destroyed us sits mostly untouched in my account. Money, I've discovered, is the least valuable legacy we leave behind.